public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public pace. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They done drive no fear with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water load. Pressure want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su?
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Where do we start? Where do we start? Anyways, yeah, your friends know as you share the link and let them know that we're on live Thursday, 9 minutes after 9 o'clock, right here on 107.1 FM. How are you guys doing? Wherever you are. If you're out somewhere sharing flags, if you're putting flags out on poles, if you're working really, really hard for your party, and those who are being paid, those who have been promised to go out there and just be flag man and flag woman, you're flagging it down. You weren't there with your own party flagging it how you ought to be flagging it. Now some are out there flagging it down. Repeat after me. They're flaggers. Oops. I don't know why our operator put this, but this is Jermaine Figueroa. He jumped from the PNC straight over to the PPP, and right away he's on the ground flagging it up. He's just a flagger. He's flagging it up. He has to work hard. He has to do whatever it is. He picked up the flags and he's out there. And sometimes you wonder, why weren't these guys working 10 times as hard for the party that they so love, that the party they so grew up in, and all manner of things. And so, you know, this is not knocking at Jermaine Figueroa. I mean, I see him just hustling in politics. It's okay. It's not like he's a Mike Tyson or what is it? Those heavyweight boxers and so forth. But it's just a pity to see how the PPP, how they treat people. And we know exactly how this is touching them. That is why Jagdeo, at his so-called press conference, he had to talk about it, and it's despicable. If German is watching, German, it is despicable. This is what they got you doing. Do you see Anil Nandalal out there doing that and stapling and going out? I don't know. I don't know what to say any longer. I just don't know what to say. Good night again. That's what the PPP does to you. Make you pauper. This is what they're doing to the entire country, creating problems upon problems every single day. Look at who they got, grabbing everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Check out their background, check their character. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. They even got somebody, former president of Colombia. All these things. Look, we have a lot to talk about. Guess who is my guest tonight? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance to guess. Dexter Todd is with us tonight. In fact, our executive producer already said that Dr. Dexter Todd, we got to put some respect into the title, doctor. And sometimes when people become doctor, they earn a PhD. You know that they work for it. This is not something that was thrown and say, hey, Dexter, just grab this. This is your PhD from some IFLOT university or some university that is not known or whatever. So for those of you who are in the audience right now and those who are watching and even those who are peeping, if you haven't done your work for the night, right, Miss Booker and others, well, here is your opportunity. Lynette Nelson and all of you, Desiree Chapman, and every single one of you, you get this opportunity now. You have it now, Rastaman. Focus tonight, Rastaman. I noticed you guys were and poking a little fun at our guest last night, and some of you, I will be dealing with some of you later on. You will be suspended for 1 hour. Some of you will be suspended for 2 hours. I'm looking at some of the ones who were misbehaving in classroom yesterday. Let me just remind you guys that Paul Slow and David Hines and others give you guys chances. I have some suspension slips for some of you who are laughing at my friend, in a good way, but you still will be suspended tonight. For those who have already shared the link, thank you all so much. And some folks messaged me and asked if I quit the Guyana Police Force, and sometimes it took me a quick minute to understand what they were saying. And even though what's happening in the Guyana Police Force, it's a joke, it's comical. And I want to say, of course, something that we have been saying for a while, that there are good men and women still, lots of good men and women in the Guyana Police Force. And we want to salute them for their hard work. And those who are being manipulated by the corrupt PPP regime, we want them to be extra careful. So somebody said that I retired. I resigned from the Guyana Police Force after spending 48 years. I don't know. All right. So policemen and women, just be careful. Be careful with what's happening. Don't be used by these corrupt people in the PPP. This guy, we've got to pray for him. We already know what's happening. Not the one on the screen, not that so-called policeman on the screen, but this one here.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afro Wellington Bavigans. Carpool Police 21111, Station of Traffic Headquarters. I would like to take this time to thank the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for making taking out this precious time to promote these ranks who need it and who truly deserve it. With my 80-year service 2 months, this promotion will be a great milestone to my family and make me take 10 steps forward in doing my work as a police officer. I will say again, thank you, sir. Thanks to the Commissioner of Police, the other senior officer. Thanks again to my traffic chief.
Lots of thanks, and thanks this and thanks that. You're out there, you got to go do your work. Dr. Dexter Todd is with us, attorney at law, someone that I've known, it seems as though we've known all our lives while in the Guyana Police Force. Well, not me. He was in the Guyana Police Force peeping. I was on the outside. He was in the inside. And Dr. Dexter Todd, how are you? Good night, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Mark, and good evening to your viewers. You made me laugh when you said that.
Thank you, thank you. At least, that's what we do here. We put the smiles on people's face. We respect them. At least this is not a show where people come, as we see what happens on the Thursday show. Lots of barking, small dogs barking on the other side, the Thursday side, that is. And so many folks would know that this Dexter Todd has been around for some time, so to speak. He has been in the Guyana Police Force. He served as an officer of the Guyana Police Force. He's an attorney at law. He has earned his PhD. He's also a professor. He does a lot of things. And so for anyone to describe someone like Dr. Dexter Todd as a little DOG, I think it's downright disrespectful as we prepare to celebrate the whatever is there to celebrate the Emancipation Day celebration. Dr. Todd, even if someone wants to describe you as a DOG, in the good terms, you are a top DOG, not a little one like Chihuahua. Forget about them. Let's talk about you. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Great. I am doing great. This, of course, is definitely a season where we, of course, do a lot of reminiscing. And I think as we enter into the eve, as we are in the eve of the emancipation, and we look forward for that, I think I am always try to reflect a lot more on how significant this entire season or entire day means to me and to many other Africans around the world. Emancipation means a lot. And I think that I don't treat it lightly. I always try to go into the park and, meet with my brothers and sisters from all walks of life, from all across of this country. And from sometimes we even have overseas visitors. But that's just a time to celebrate. But it gives me a lot more to reflect on and to see where we are, to assess where we are as a people, and what is it that we need to do to move forward. Because I think it's important that we as African Guyanese understand where we are. I think when we are very objective, we are to see what has happened to us over the years, how we have been marginalized, how we have been talked down, how we have been meant to told to go into the corner and shut up, how we've been called all sorts of names because we stand up for what is right. But it's sometimes it's okay to say that it's not okay. All right. And I think that more and more, I am not afraid of where we are as a people, because I think even outside of me, there are a number of Guyanese and members of the diaspora, which of course, when come together, we have been able to look at things more from a more structured, critical standpoint, and we are a lot more smarter now than we were many years ago, and so we see things for what it is. All right, and we are not at all we're not at all given this type of propaganda that the PPPC is trying to peddle, and we are not accepting it. It's not going to go down at all. It's not going to go down at all. It's not going to digest at all, because we see them for who they are. We see that they many times try to play mind games, and some are falling for it. But there are many of us who are not prepared, and we to accept what they're saying, because we know better. We have seen it. They have a track record to prove that they are not to be trusted. And so, as I said, it's a good day that it's coming up tomorrow, for reflection. But more personally for me, it's an opportunity for me to reflect on who I am and how privileged and how blessed and how fortunate I am as a black Guyanese to say that I have an opportunity to make things right, and to add my contribution, and to join the hands of many more who are saying enough is enough.
And there are lots of Guyanese who are saying enough is enough, regardless of their ethnicity. And I agree with you. Tomorrow is a day for reflection. Tomorrow is a day for, after reflection, is moving forward and making the right decisions so that Guyana can be able to move forward and breathe again. Dr. Dexter Todd, also an attorney at law, he's with us tonight. We have lots and lots of things to talk about. I'm hoping that Dr. Todd is prepared to go until 2 a.m. We have so talk to us a little bit about this young Dexter Todd as a member of the Guyana Police Force, and briefly reflect on your time when you served as a member of that police force.
I think that my time as a member of the Guyana Police Force was quite an interesting time. I believe the police force at that time did not lack at all very strong leadership. We had we had from retired assistant commissioner or acting commissioner Floyd McDonald. Then we moved to in my time we moved to I believe it was Felix, Mr. Retired Commissioner Felix. Then we moved to Henry Green, and I served, I think, for about 2 years as the personal assistant to Henry Green, who was an attorney at law, but a very strong individual. And I could remember a number of things and lessons that I learned there. Now, in that time, we had, of course, strong leaderships like Mr. Paul Slow, Clinton Conway. You know, these gentlemen were very active in my time in the police force, in a leadership capacities. They were commanders, and then move on to head very large departments of the police force. But discipline was there, a structure was there, and one of the things that I can remember, it was there was great respect for contributions. I will never say that I was ever stifled in the force. From the time I joined the police force, and completed my initial training in the force, I was sent to the immigration department, and I served in the immigration department for about 5 years, so to speak. And from then, even in the immigration department, there were a number of things that I was involved in. I was very active when they were moving over to the machine readable passports. I attended meetings in relation to border security at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I was an active debater in the force, and that, of course, gave me a lot of recognition. So for the time in the force, I don't recall how many debates that I have been a part of. But it would have had to be over 30 debates. And for that period of time, my team never lost a debate. Each time there was a debate, we won the debate. And I was always the judge the best speaker and overall best debater and so forth. And I think that also helped to give me recognition very quickly in the force, because as a constable, I think I was a constable for maybe what, about 2 or 3 years, and then I had my first degree. And so when I graduated with my first degree, there were not many officers who graduated at the time. But a few of us who graduated, we were promoted because the force saw the need for officers to not only be educated, but also to be given an opportunity to, of course, contribute meaningfully to the development of the force, and that caused an accelerated promotion for me. So I never sat in the rank of lance corporal and sergeant and inspector and chief inspector. I was elevated way past all of that, with lightning speed. And that is because of my achievements at that time. When I started to do law, of course, at that time it was under the PPPC, and I believe the policy was very strict, because when you complete your law degree at the University of Guyana, you then need to go to one of the law schools in the Caribbean, and our law school designated for us is the Wooding Law School in Trinidad. And so that's 2 years of training. And so I did like many others. I wrote for permission to have like this, what we call the no pay leave, so that I can go and qualify myself as an attorney, since that I have completed the LLB degree. Um, and that permission was not granted, and so I was left to make a decision, whether I stay in the force and serve, or I go to law school, because it is a very strict list. If you miss your list or your year, you run the risk of not having an opportunity to go in the following years, because it's all about numbers. The quota, if you don't fit in that quota, then you don't. So I didn't want to miss my year. So I said goodbye to the force. And of course, that was not a happy decision, because by then I had built a lot of love and respect for my colleagues and working in the force. And I've held, at that point in time, I'd held a number of important roles in the force, including officer in charge at Brick Dam and all of that. And so I've had a number of ranks under me. And I believe that at that time I started to make, in a very small way, but a significant way, some difference. All right, I attempted in as much as possible to ensure that there was always fairness with how we treat members of the public. And I think I sometimes smile, because some of the people who come into me now as an attorney were some of the people that I dealt with when I was a police officer, and they remembered some of the stands that I took in relation to their treatment. Many people, likes of Caesar and all of that, those were quite junior ranks to me when I held those roles, and so those were persons who had to, of course, also take instructions where and whenever the, needs to be. When I was an officer as well, when I was promoted to an officer as well, at that time, even the commissioner of police, Clifton Hickins, was not even an officer. I believe he was an inspector. So when I left, he still would have not been even senior to me. But of course, I am looking at the force now, and which I'm sure we're going to discuss, and there's lots that is happening that we ought not to be proud of.
And we are going to stop right there at that. Lots happening that we ought not to be proud of. If you're now joining us, Dr. Dexter Todd, attorney at law, with us, and some surprising revelations there that possibly I don't know how some of those guys got so senior. What if Dexter Todd was still a member of the Guyana Police Force? Maybe. What if? All right. So let me get your take. Mr. Todd, let me get your take on this here, because it's trending all over and lots of people are upset.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afro Wellington Bavigans. Carpolo Police 21111 Station of Traffic Headquarters. I would like to take this time to thank the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for making this, is taking out this precious time to promote these ranks who need it and who.
All right, we'll just take that off right off the bat. There are quite a few of these videos circulating, mainly on the PPP propaganda websites and so forth. What is your take on what the police force has been reduced to?
Mark, I'm going to say what I believe many of Guyanese are saying all over. This is indeed unacceptable. Look, we have good men and women of the force, and for those who continue to do good policing, we will always commend them, and we will always give our support for their work. But this here, where we see that the leadership, this what I'm seeing, persons, policemen and women are making videos and they're thanking the president for the promotion, etc. This clearly is an instruction given to them by their leadership. This is not, and I cannot be wrong on this. This is not an action which they are voluntarily doing. This is a clear instructions. Listen, you are going to be promoted, and you all need to do videos thanking the president. So this here is more of a political stunt, and what I think I made a post that it's more of a political overreach than anything at all. Because when you look at some of the years some of these members have served, we want to know what type of system would allow men and women to be in there for 30 years, 35 years, 19 years, and never saw a promotion at all. And so you have a broken system. But more importantly, people who know better and who understand the law. The president is not responsible for promotion from a constable to an inspector. That is the function by law of the commission of police. And so where you have the fact that the president is instructing the police commission, because one news said that they were instructed to promote them. So I'm just thinking, if we follow that news, that the commissioner was instructed to promote 2,000 ranks. Listen, Mark, I don't know what laughable situation it is, but the police force that I know has a structure. And that structure has, as you go down, every rank, there is a specific quota of the rank. Let's say, so if you have lance corporals, you have to have a certain amount of lance corporals in the force, and that balances the structure. If you come down to corporal and sergeant, you need to have certain amount. Now, where you have a situation of actually 2,000 persons ranks being promoted, I don't want to know what that charter now looks like in the force, which means you will have in terms of roles and responsibility, because as you are promoted and you function in a particular rank, you have certain responsibilities. So I could imagine you may very well have a situation in which inspectors are doing constable job, sergeants are doing constable jobs. You may have stations with shifts where you have four lance corporals, and then you have a situation which who is going to pass instruction to who. So listen, I don't know what is happening with the police force, but for the police force to be subjected, you're in an election time, you are looking for votes, but this is definitely not the way to have our policemen or our men and women in uniform to be paraded all across social media, thanking the president and thanking the president, and absolutely thanking the president for what? For what?
It reminds me, Dr. Todd, it reminds me of watching some clips and so forth of what happens in countries like North Korea. Uh, Guyana is far from North Korea, but it seems as though Guyana is close to being following suit of what Kim Jong Un and those guys do in places like North Korea. This is a shame. It's a disgrace. And I agree with you, Dr. Todd, that the Guyana Police Force has a lot of good and honorable men and women who want to go out there and do their jobs. And we salute those honorable men and women. But those folks should not allow themselves to be reduced to this or at this level at all in the name of political expediency, or
Yeah.
as you have described it, as political stunt. The police force needs to breathe again, will be able to breathe again. Just before we move away from this topic, how are some of your former colleagues are feeling right now about what's happening and the political interferences and so forth?
Listen, the people who I am in contact with, and there are a lot, cannot wait to see the back of the PPP. There's no excitement in the police force. There is absolutely no room for them to develop. And when I talk about development, I'm talking about the police to use their own creativity. Many of them understand policing. Many of them understand how to enforce the law, but they're not given an opportunity to enforce the law. So what you have is interference at every level. It's not only an issue. I mean, when we look at it from the umbrella perspective, you'll see that there is political interference in the force, but more so, you have a structure in the force where you have now political operatives who are in uniform. So they are ensuring that the order of the PPPC are carried out, and that it creates a situation where members cannot do their work. All right, and you see that reflecting from the top come down, because the command chain of the force is challenged now. All right, so some of the officers, senior as they are, they don't report to the commissioner. The commissioner can't really give them instructions. They take their instructions from elsewhere, and you see that reflecting in their mannerism. You see that reflecting in how they speak, and the level of authority. So the level of authority, you can't find that it comes from, back in my policing time, many of the things that things that were passed down to the junior ranks were already captured in what we call a force order. So you had a force order, and so you had a clear instructions from the commissioner of police. And of course, that there was to be carried out in all divisions. Now you have a situation where And this is just recently. This happened just about 3-4 days ago. You had prior to that, you had the Minister of Home Affairs, of course, condemning the police for not allowing persons to use their phone to video what the police was doing when they are confronting with members of the public. But you have that being a problem still. You have that being a problem still because you have that has not been filtered down properly in a way in which it became a force order per se. So you have some of them, some members of the force who believe that they are empowered and they are so strong, and because of the fact that they have links and they can, if you say something to them that they are not pleased with, they have someone to pick up the phone and call, and so they have that coverage. So it seems as though the force now, everyone with certain responsibility and authority is an authority unto themselves, and you don't see that clear flow of the command, and the commissioner having a good command of the force, because I think the commissioner is clearly, his focus is clearly down the line of popularity. His focus is clearly down the line of ensuring whatever is done makes the PPP look good. Because if that were not the case, you would never have a commissioner of police having junior ranks come out like that and thanking the president publicly in all cross social media. I'll tell you, if they can establish any commissioner of police, coming from Larry Lewis, coming right down, right through, where police ranks were subjected to that type of mediocrity, you can, I will change my perspective on it, because I've looked at it. I was doing my research and I realized that that has never happened. If there has been any way in which there has been some form of a gratitude to be shown to the administration, that comes from the leadership. The leadership in their thank you speech thank whatever contributions were made, but never have this type of thing happening. And so I think it is a clear case in which the focus of the force is not where it ought to be. And it's reflecting a lot in what they do and their work with members of society.
And I think that's a sad case. Lots of officers have been complaining to their friends and their relatives and so forth. And we all have relatives and friends in the Guyana Police Force. They are feeling demoralized at this point in time, disrespected, and that's not how you need to have the force. Come September 1st, in fact, that's not how you need to have the country. Come September 1st, things have to change, and they have to be a change for the betterment of the entire country. All right, if you're now joining us, Dexter Todd, attorney at law, is also the holder of a PhD from a reputable and a recognized university. I just thought I'd put that one in there. All of these things will be restored as of September 1st, respectability on the entire country. Dr. Todd, give us an assessment of what's happening on the ground. How are young people feeling, especially young people, not just young people, but people in general, as they prepare for the elections and they talk about change in the air? What's the mood like on the ground, sir?
I can tell you from the people that we have been interacting with, there is a lot of hope which has been restored. And they look forward with great expectation for September 1. And as many of my other colleagues on this campaign trail, we have been moving from community to community, because we have a leader who believes in being on the ground, interfacing with people. And so while there is recognition given to public meetings and rallies, those things basically act to to kind of pump people up and to give them that level of energy. But what is crucial is an opportunity to move from community, from door to door, from building to building, from community to community, and to talk with our people. And I can tell you, a lot of persons are saying we understand what is at stake, and we are prepared. We are prepared to do our part. And so there has been a very clear call that the responsibility should not be activists only, but we call on all persons in society. We call on mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters to sell the message that this here is a very important role that you need to play September 1 in restoring this country to a country in which we can truly be proud of. And we have been clear on the message. The message has been more ensuring that this is basically a people-centered government. Will be a people-centered government, which means that APNU's government is going to focus on the people, ensuring that a number of things that we are seeing in society in terms of the high poverty rate. As you move through the community, you see how people are living, their conditions, and you compare that to certain areas where it's known as PPP areas. But you've seen a great amount of wealth and resources have been pumped into those areas. But when you go to other areas, you want to know, where is this one Guyana concept that they were trying to of course sell that to persons, because it's clearly not one Guyana as you move through. All right, you have a high cost of living where you have persons are just having one meal a day, and some are living what we call hand to mouth. All right, they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and so you see that level of discomfort in society. Then when as you move through the community, you hear people talk about living in fear and feeling unsafe because of this whole thing of police excesses, extrajudicial killings, covering up of murders, unsolved murders, oppressive use of anti-terrorism laws. So persons are saying, is it a free country? Are we allowed to still voice our displeasure if government is doing something that we don't like? Like a perfect example where they saw the Adriana Young's case, and many of them were there, and they saw that the police acted more to protect the proprietors and so forth, but not they didn't find that there was some form of seriousness in how they approached the case, in how they were going for justice to ensure that this matter was solved. And then you had persons coming out and in support of the call of justice, and many of them were charged for terrorism, a law that I believe has been misused in this country. And so that was a very clear attempt to demonstrate and to somehow instill fear in persons, so that you don't have them going out there to protest. Because look at them, many of them were remanded, many of them were placed on very high bails, $250,000 bail. These are very poor people. So all these things they consider, they are thinking, and so this whole thing of being free in a society in which we can demonstrate a displeasure in a peaceful way, all of that is concerned. Then you have, as we go through in relation to the Berbice areas, Persons are still calling for justice for the Henry boys, for Harish Singh. As we go to Linden, in a few days, I head back to support my brothers and sisters there in Linden. They have had murders from the police force, in which there is a number of concerns. Again, some of the investigations have not been properly done. There have been little answers to the family members, to members of society. So as we go through, we are getting a sense of how people expect that we must be able to work to resolve the fears and the concerns that they have in society. So it's not only an issue of poverty, but it's also an issue of their expression of how unsafe they feel. That they feel that the society is now at a high risk because there is an increase in crime, and so there is a very clear message as we go through that APNU and APNU forming the government come September 1, there's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot that will be different, that will somehow restore this country to a place in which persons not only can be proud of, but also can live and expect that there is going to be the rule of law in relation to equality of the law, equality under the eyes of the law, a reforming of the police force. Of course, it's going to require you removing some of those the level of incompetence that you have, and restoring competence, because persons of clearly sitting in some of those offices ought not to be there because they've not demonstrated the type of skill and competence to lead and to impact this whole question of law enforcement. And so to reform, the reformation of the force and all of that are all important things that we are going to be heading to. All right. But APNU has a track record, And Mark, if I can say this, if there is one thing that is undisputed about President Granger, is that from 2015 to 2020, I don't know how really to describe it, but I can tell you as a citizen, there was a sense of national pride which permeated the atmosphere in this country, where you were proud, you felt safe because police related better with you. There was the crime rate went down. Persons were not marginalized. Persons were allowed to speak freely. There was, of course, a number of initiatives which of course alleviated some of the hardships. And of course, even the pay increase was higher in the Granger's administration under the APNU than it was now, and there was no oil money. So persons are allowed. We're having that type of conversation with them as we move along. And I'm telling you, the energy is there, the excitement is there, and they're playing their part. We have persons coming out in their numbers in relation to volunteering and are ready to ensure that they give their support for polling day, to ensure that our elections are delivered, of course, with minimum attempts of rigging. So I can tell you, I'm excited and I'm looking forward for September 1, Mark. I can go on and on about how our people are facing.
People are facing a lot throughout the country, regardless of whether it's Blackbush Boulder, whether it's Linden, whether it's Ituni or Kokwani or Lethem, Bartica, wherever they are right now, they're feeling the squeeze in a country where they should not be feeling the squeeze with, billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars being wasted. I don't know. Talk to us. You mentioned earlier about the terrorism charges against individuals who are just out there exercising their democratic rights, their constitutional rights to protest. I mean, we've never seen this. I know many years back, we were on the ground there. You acted as a lawyer for so many people who were tortured as well, victims of extrajudicial killings, seeking justice. But this is a new trend by the corrupt PPP regime where they're charging people just for protesting. They're charging them for terrorism. Scores of folks were charged unjustly. What's the situation with them? And what's your take as a lawyer about these frivolous and dangerous charges of terrorism, just for protesting, mind you?
Those charges are not going to be sustained at all, and I can tell you, we have expressed very clear, and actually, this has been even supported by members of the bench who dealt with some of these matters, in wanting to know what is really happening in terms of the charges. The elements of the charge, the police will not be able to establish. If they have persons who behaved in a riotous manner, or they were claiming that they were persons who acted in terms of damaging of property, etc. They are relevant charges which are more appropriate for that type of behavior. But to label person as a terrorist is very important. Look, Mark, my specialization in my PhD is in terrorism and counterterrorism. So I understand the use of the term. I understand the implications of it. And when you label someone as a terrorist, I am telling you, you are going to affect these young black men, their lives, because no country is going to accept them with a charge like that. I had a former charge. When you see their name and you type in their name and you Google their names, there pops up their name. You were criminally charged. You were charged with what? Terrorism. You're a young terrorist. Listen, we are demoralizing our young people in society. We are criminalizing them psychologically. We are putting the wrong ideas in their head. We are affecting their lives. And so when we look at those, some of them, many of them, if not all of them, were on remand. So they were on remand with hardcore criminals. All right. And so you could tell I don't know if members of government, they're not advised by criminologists and psychologists in relation to understanding when you impact and you play those type of games on an individual who made some of these young men were riding home from the hard days of work and were caught in the protest, meaning they were trying to deviate out of the crowd. But the police showed up right away, snatched them, beat them, threw them in the lockup. Some of them, Mark, never knew what the charge was until they got to the court. When they got to the court, you then hear the charge of terrorism is read. I'm telling you, I went into the prison and I grouped all these young men, and there were over 20 something of them. And I was grateful that the authorities in the prison allowed me to speak to all of them. Let me tell you something. Each one of those men cried uncontrollably as they explained what is it that they were doing, as they explained that they were basically proceeding home, absolutely no part of any criminal activity and so on. And they were just thrown in the lockups. They were in prison. And more than one occasions, they were refused bail.
So Dr. Todd, and I'm reading some of the comments because it's really painful to listen to what you're saying and how you're describing, and even upon visiting those individuals, that a nation like Guyana, folks have to continue to suffer at this manner, especially at the hands of brutal officials in this regime. I noticed a question with regards, and that's my question too. What's the status of those dozens of people who were picked up and dumped into prison? What's happening with them, sir?
I learned that there are only 3 persons out of the lot. So if we're looking at a number of over 40 something, 50 men, 50 persons who are charged, I learned that there are about 3 persons who are in Berbice who are still on remand, and that was confirmed today. And so tomorrow and Saturday, I'm going to inquire more what is happening. But for those that we have dealt with, and I'm saying we because we were able to call on more support from other lawyers like Ronald Daniels, Mr. Hughes, Darren Wade. We had Javon Cox, we had Dexter Smart, we had Candace Adams. We had some other lawyers who came together and said, okay, we're going to all support this. Because when I started to look at the numbers and to see how they were spread out all across, some in Berbice, some in Virginia Hoop Court, some in Lenora Court, some in Georgetown Court, and they were spread out all over, it was going to be a lot for one attorney to handle. And so we put ourselves in a group and we said, we're going to really, in pro bono, of course, we are really going to assist this matter. But I heard there are 3 persons who are still on remand. So we are going to look into that immediately.
And I'm sure that you guys are going to look into it. And please let the public know what's the situation with those 3 individuals who are still on remand. Dr. Todd, do you? I'm sure the answer is obvious, but a deliberate attempt by this regime to drive fear into people, that to tell them that they don't have a right to go out and protest, they don't have a right to. Is that what this is all about? One, and how is the court handling these sort of frivolous and unnecessary charges against citizens?
For the terrorism charges, for these charges flowing out of Adriana's matter, those charges have not yet reached the stage of trial. There has been bail granted, and then there has been partial disclosures in those matters, and it will go to trial. Now we are hoping that as soon as they have completed their disclosures, we are moving to the High Court. Well, I am moving to the High Court to have all these matters squashed, because I do not believe that the charges are correctly laid. And many of them, as I said, many of the judicial officers who are sitting looking at these matters are also concerned, because it's just a misuse. But as I said, these charges, listen, Mark, I sometimes, I like to come very, very, very practical. What has happened in the last 5 years, what I have witnessed being in the courts, is that the PPPC's government is not really interested in a charge that will stick. They're not interested in substance. They are interested in narrative. So that persons are charged, they get to go out, they get to talk about how persons are charged with terrorism. They get to drive fear in people, so that people at the end of the day will think twice to come out. So at the end of the day, they are not interested if the charges fall by the wayside very quickly before a court, because they would have achieved their objective. It's the same thing that they did. It's the same thing that they did with the Quinton Bacchus's matter. Because when the people protested, they ended up picking up persons that they could have identified on video who were a part of the protest, not necessarily a part of any riotous behavior, but a part of the protest. So at the end of the day, when those people were, they went to, now they started, look at how they started. They started with putting their names and their faces on a wanted bulletin. So all over the world, when you type in the person's name, you are saying that the person is wanted. And the person is wanted for look what type of offense? As a terrorist, for acts of terrorism. All right. So and then so when the persons went in, some of them spent their 72 hours, and in every movement of the matter, they ensured that they publicized it. And so, as they publicized what was happening, it was creating a particular narrative, and it was playing with the psyche of of others. That, listen to me, you don't want to end up like them, so stay home. So invariably, they get what they had set out to achieve: silencing the people, shutting them up, allowing them to say, while you may think that you have a constitutional right to express yourself, not here. Stay home, or else once you come out and join any group fighting for a cause, you are likely to face the court.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dr. Dexter Todd, also attorney at law, politician, lots of things, lots and lots of titles over the years, fighting for what is just and what is right, fighting for equal rights and justice in a country that is seem to be politically divided every time the PPP is in office. That has got to change come September 1st. Dr. Todd, as we look at the time, we know you've had a busy schedule, but please permit us just maybe another few minutes or so. Let's touch on these individuals who have been charged, not only these three, but there are others. These charges have been around for over almost close to 5 years now with nothing at all. How much of an injustice is this for these individuals who have to just basically wait their fate, God in heaven knows until when, and without any evidence, any real evidence against them? How unfair is this from a lawyer's perspective?
Being involved in this case, I can tell you, many of the times when I look at these professionals who are facing this level of embarrassment, I'm always touched. And more so from a very professional standpoint. This entire charge was to only achieve one thing: to achieve the narrative that there was an attempt to rig an election, and that these parties were a part of that attempt rigging. Now, there is no evidence of supporting that, I can tell you that. And so that is why you have every time, even though it's a public trial, you have every type of information in relation to the evidence out there, because and when it goes out there, you have a lot of comments about the persons and about the case. And so it was interesting that we visited, I think yesterday, we visited the Ashman's building again, and I can tell how the PVPC is enjoying this narrative of an elect rigging, but there's no evidence of that.
But Dr. Todd, if I can just interject for a moment, we all know that there's no evidence. if there were evidence to pin on the opposition now, the PPP would have allowed all of the elections petitions. They would have allowed the SOPs to be open and let everybody see. But the reason why they're hiding is that they know very well what happened. And it's unfortunate that they pin these trumped up charges against these individuals. But what was the purpose of revisiting the crime scene, a crime scene that was created by the PPP regime? What was the purpose of that by the court, please?
Well, a number of witnesses came and they indicated that they were in a particular position when they saw or when they heard something, and the court, the prosecution wanted to somehow have the court give the court an opportunity to have a more pictorial view of what's happening or what was happening what at a particular time by putting the witness back in the particular structure. Now, before the decision was made to revisit the scene, I was not on the case per se, but I came after. So when I joined the case, it was already past that deliberation and submissions as to whether they should go or whether they ought not to go. But I think I had represented when I joined. It was not something that I supported at all, because to me it was somehow not helpful from my standpoint. And there were things that I was asking for. I mean, if you were going to reconstruct a scene, then you needed to have certain things in place and before, and those were not there. But it was a decision that the court finally made, and we supported that. And well, the witnesses were there, and the witnesses outlined while they were able to show certain measurements and so forth. They were able to say clearly the place has basically changed. The walls are not there anymore. The how they were positioned in terms of where the screen was, where they saw the tabulation, all those things, they are not there. So um, I don't think it's going to be helpful to the court when it comes to assessing the evidence, because it was just a photo op.
And we all see that as a photo op, wasting the court's time, wasting taxpayers' monies. There's no case. But these people and others have been persecuted. They're being persecuted for over 5 years. Let's hope when you guys go out on September 1st to vote, you vote for a change of government, from a change from the bad days that we are seeing right now to better days ahead. Lots and lots of things. Anyways, Dr. Todd, as we prepare to go in just a few minutes or so, I want to ask you your take on the Guyana Elections Commission, and mainly whether you have confidence in the commissioner, or sorry, the chief elections or the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission delivering free, credible, and transparent elections. How comfortable are you, sir?
Mark, I'm going to answer you using or
Like a
repeating.
lawyer,
No, I'm
or a
not going to answer you as a
politician?
lawyer, but
Oh,
I'm going to somehow paraphrase how our leader dealt with this issue. A lot of issues, I believe, we would have wanted to be addressed before we got to or come to a new elections. There is not a satisfaction that those issues were addressed properly. But we cannot focus on that. An election is on us, and therefore we have to put the systems in place to work with what we have. And you know, it would have been a lot helpful if the chair, I did a live and I outlined 7 irregularities which were pointed out by the GECOM officials. And then I saw on the line you even put numbers which are so accurate in terms of number of dead people, dead persons who voted, absent voters, the numbers that were in the box without documents, etc. Missing oath of identity, and I see the PPP operatives going back to say that persons, especially James Bond, going back to say, well, counsel, you're meaning that you're a lawyer, you should know that persons can vote without an ID card. But I think sometimes they don't listen. That is not the point I was making. I was making the same point you're having. There were no oaths of identity. So you can't even say whether the persons had ID card or whether these persons took an oath because it was not there. They were not there. All right. So that is my point. My point is that GECOM officials outlined a number of irregularities which are serious in its form. And I maintain that had these irregularities been interrogated by a court of law, there was going to be no way that the 2020 election would have been allowed to say that it was valid. A court would have invalidated that. 10 dead persons voted. It means that even if one voted, it would have contaminated that entire elections. So
I'm not sure if you
that the
remember.
PPP was in by a fluke.
I'm not sure if you remember the 1997 elections. One era was able to have that entire elections vitiated in 2000, and it was done by guess who? Claudette Singh, Justice Claudette Singh, vitiated the 1997 elections and forced elections in 2001. That's how we had elections in Guyana in March of 2001. But look at what happened in the 2020 elections, Dr. Todd. 6 to 1 dead voters. They just crawl out of the Ripon Cemetery. They voted, and 4,864 absent voters. I hope you're not talking about, anyways, these days. Anyways, forget about bond. We're talking about real legal minds here. 150 stuffed ballot boxes. 47 ballot boxes without documents, 1,278 missing oaths of identity, Dr. Todd. I don't know. We're gonna
and you still have an attorney general. You still have, well, I don't know if to call the man a vice president. I don't know what name to call the man. You still have them believing that we should say that it was the APNU who attempted to rig this election.
Oh, no evidence of that. No evidence. And I guess, don't worry with those guys. They already know what happened. And that's why we just got to ignore them. I think you're talking about this guy, right? He has another name.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su.
We'll end at that. Who? Su? Dr. Todd.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Let me just take the time out to say thank you so much, Mr. Attorney General. Sorry, did I say Attorney General? Well, I'm not going to walk back on that, but thank you so much, Dr. Todd. Did I say Attorney General?
No, you did not. You did not.
I did not.
I didn't hear that. Yeah.
Your closing remarks, sir.
Mark, thank you so much. I continue to say that we are in a very crucial time. I know that the election is on us. We are days away from the elections. I know that the PPPC, they are at work. There are a number of persons who are continuing to peddle lies about the true state and performance of their government. But I ask us all to continue to remain very, very vigilant. I have looked and I can tell you from all angles, there is only one opportunity for us to return to some form of normalcy and to advance this country in a positive way. And that is through the leadership of Aubrey Compton Norton. This is the only man in this race who is unblemished. This is the only man in this race that carry the level of intelligence and depth to lead this country forward. It is his season. He is the only person that is in this race that is not corrupt, that is clearly has a vision that you can follow, and he has outlined that in so many different ways in relation to how the APNU is going to deal with the issue of poverty, ensuring that the oil wealth is goes into the hands of the people, in terms of ensuring that how you deal with taxes, of course, income tax, and those who earn $400,000 and less will not be subjected to taxes. Of course, they're looking at increasing of old age pension to $100,000, looking at the dealing with public servants, bringing up minimum wage to about to $200,000 a month. As I said, and I've outlined, in terms of dealing with the police force, in terms of setting up mechanisms which are going to assist in dealing with these unsolved matters and murders, proper investigation in relation to the Adriana's case, a proper investigation in relation to the Henry Boys, to the Harris Singh, to the Madhya fire, where he's going all the way back for proper COI, a proper investigation in relation to that, going to deal with all those other murders in Fajane, in Linden, etc. Proper, so that justice can be served. And as we deal with the issue of justice, also to be able to ensure that there is never going to be a reoccurrence of this type of behavior. So Guyana is going to be in a better place. So I want to thank you. I don't want to take up much more of your program, because I can stay the whole night in selling what the plans that APNU has, but I can tell you, it is the right plan for Guyana.
Thank you. We can take up the entire night indeed in getting all the information out to convince people that on September 1st they have to make the right choice and vote the PPP out of office. And don't waste your vote, but vote right. Dr. Todd, I know I said quickly, any quick update on the Adriana Young's investigation?
All right. Statements are coming in. Just as I said, there is a team which is looking at the digital part, or the digital all recordings, etc., and are assembling that and are putting together their report. We are still not in possession of the toxicology report in its complete form. But I believe the pathologist, Dr. Carol Terry, has gone past that, and she's moved to other areas in which she is doing what is called a quality assurance type of approach to it, so that some form of recommendation. I am in constant contact with her. She's maintaining. She has submitted a preliminary report. That preliminary report basically asks a number of questions. We are attempting to get more information on the ground. As you know, it is taking time, because one of the things that we are faced with is that the crime scene was not preserved, and so there is a lot of things that we have to be looking back to be able to get answers, because of course these things were not properly treated at the police level, so even they themselves cannot give the proper answer. I want to ultimately say as well that there has not been a full cooperation by the Guyana Police Force in relation to this type of assessment by Dr. Terry. So that has somehow slowed down the work and the pace in which the work was going. But I'm telling you, we're going to see. We're just weeks away. Just weeks away. We're going to see this entire case investigated properly, thoroughly, and all the right and professionals are going to be on board to ensure that this case is answered, and we receive answers for the death of this wonderful young child.
Absolutely, justice is needed in this case and all those other cases as well. It must be painful, Dr. Todd, knowing that you being a former member of the Guyana Police Force, and what your colleagues and former colleagues might be thinking at this time. Any particular message for those serving men and women in the Guyana Police Force, especially in this election season? Your message to them as they prepare to vote.
You are going to see a better day. I understand, and I think many of us as Guyanese understand the situation you are placed in. Many of you are not happy about the manner in which the Guyana Police Force is managed. You are not happy about the recognition and the respect that you are given as you do attempt to do your job. Many of you are not able to do your job. And many of you are still having to face a number of hardship as we look at some of the conditions of many of the stations around the country. Many of you are not even happy about what you how the working conditions you have to work under. Many of you are not happy with the level of support you're given in your own social life. You work night duties, hours, etc., and you're not even given the type of recognition and assistance to help you to perform better. Under an APNU government, you are going to see better service. You're going to see better, of course, better respect for your profession. Those of you who are professionals and continue to do good policing, be assured that you will, under an APNU government, be given the necessary tools to perform your work. All of you who are misplaced, and I say misplaced because some of you who are trained in a particular area are not allowed to function in that area. You are sent somewhere else, all over the place. We are going to bring you back, and we are going to ensure that what you are given to do is going to be within your skill set, so that your skill set will be sharpened, and so that you can be able to service the people of this country in a better way. Your mandate, which is to protect and serve, will be given meaning. And that is going to happen under an APNU government. So I say, hold the fort. Keep praying. Keep prayerful. We understand what you're going through. And we are with you. And we will be in another few weeks from now. Be there to lift your hands, to hold your hands, to see a new Guyana Police Force, which can serve the people of this country at the highest level.
Dr. Todd, thank you so much, and all the best at the National Park tomorrow for Emancipation Day celebrations. Let us hope that those who have oppressed persons of African descent throughout the country, turn them into gutter workers and all these things, are not going to go there and to hug and shed crocodile tears or fake smiles or so forth. Thank you so much, though, Dr. Todd.
So
appreciate it. God
Thank
bless.
you so much, and thank you to all your viewers and all our Guyanese people. I love you and happy emancipation. I look forward to seeing many of you.
I notice you ensure that you pull the political plug advertising before you walk off the stage.
Mark, you know this is from my heart. If there's one thing I do I love my people. This is one thing I do.
No. That's why I say you show the palm, a high five.
All right, thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much,
Mark.
Dr.
Thank you.
Todd.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Indeed. Dr. Dexter Todd for you guys there. And we've had an extra half hour, and you guys are not complaining about that, though, right? But as soon as you don't see me on, you complain. And I say to people, complain, just be patient. People have to be patient. It reminds me of my 5 years in solitary confinement. You've got to be patient. I say this to some of my clients. Be patient. Times out there calls for caution, a tremendous amount of caution. And this happens in Guyana as well. You've got to be cautious. Don't allow your emotions to get a better part of you and people swar you politically into going and voting for them, thinking that they're going to save you. If you know what I mean, those of you who know what I mean, take heed. Closer to elections time, we have lots more to talk about. In fact, our operator said that there's a video we're trying to load as we prepare to just pull the curtains down. I want you to pull it down in a good way. And just take the time out to congratulate these young folks who have decided that they want to tie the knot. And guess who they are? The parents of Adriana Young. Take a look at this small clip.
Guys, I think we cheered too early.
Yeah! Congratulations!
We'll leave on that good note tonight. Congratulations to Subrian and his soon-to-be wife, Misia. And, of course, all of you should celebrate with them. They have gone through a lot. All of you should pray with them. All of us should pray for the best for that family. They deserve better. And unfortunately, those people in Guyana, in the government and the corrupt ones in the police force, they weren't able to do that at all. And so come September 1st, you've got to make that decision also and vote so that Guyana will be able to breathe again. My name is Mark Benchap. I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. God bless you, and God bless that beautiful country of ours. So long.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up.
Guys, I think we cheered too early.
Yeah! Congratulations, guys! Say it. Are you happy?